Hey yo! What's goody, everybody? Today's topic, profanity. Cuss words have evolved from a word of censorship to almost every age's normality. But if we just sat back and thought about it, is it really necessary in our reality? Today's three focuses is origin, evolution, and necessity. So now that we're live, let's dive. Point number one, history. Profanity has been around for a long undisclosed period of time, but these words have only continued to grow as this world's level of resentment continues to climb. So, is it expendable? Bob Newhart, a multi-time award-winning stand-up comedian that spanned over many generations, from his sitcoms in the 70s and 80s to Young Sheldon in the 2010s. This man never cursed and was witty and clever until the end. While he could have cussed like so many of his comedic sisters and brothers, he knew he never needed to because his humor could carry over to others. Whether it was movies, TV shows, or on stages, his comedy was so great he could appeal to all ages. With so many comedians using profanity to try and stand tall, Bob Newhart knew it wasn't necessary. That's how he transcended above all. So starting with movies, tons of kids' movies have had adult jokes for a long period of time. But as of the past 20 years, the language has certainly climbed. Whether it's the word hell used in Cars, a movie rated G, to the toys in Shrek insinuating wipe your face in PG. In PG-13, the range has varied from a few cuss words to literally all of them are now acceptable. The only thing preventing them from being rated R is if it's extremely gruesome or if nudity is acceptable. With profanity being used or laced into films of all ages, it's virtually impossible for even our youngest to not engage it. Next is the music industry. Clean and parental advisory used to be required for all artists. It didn't matter what genre they were, that was required to get started. They could bleep it, cut it, or edit a new word, but to be successful and on the shelves, that was required to get your music heard. Now that's just simply no longer the case. Most artists only make one version, whether it's clean or explicit. And if we want a clean version, we have to wait for someone on YouTube to edit it for us to listen. It's already hard to find a good list on Pandora or Spotify that doesn't curse. And now even some radio stations have lightened their restrictions to make matters worse. So then lastly, we have our society, our family, classmates, and our profession. Whether we're a teenager or an adult, the number of people who don't curse continue to lessen. The kids think it's cool while their parents use it in regular conversation. Then our coaches and managers think they're vital to spark motivation. While these words give off the perception of relativity, these are the very same words used for negativity. Hurt, demean, chastise, or uninspired. Wouldn't it just be better to find a new word to inspire? So now that we've discussed how profanity has evolved, we're going to tackle if these words should really continue or dissolve. Point number two, mindset. As discussed before, profanity can be used for both good and bad, but its core is rooted in negativity, hence why the final outcome is always sad. So we're getting to the root. Phillip Rivers, a future NFL Hall of Fame known for two things, stellar quarterback play and for being the cleanest trash talker in all of sports history. It didn't matter what it was, this man was going to talk someone's ear off about something. The stories are endless. But the key is he never used those words. Regardless of the situation, he always chose something better than what others would prefer. So that's what we're going to do. Tackle the two most common situations. So the first situation is sports. While this person takes it out of bounds, this person stays in it. After all, sports and profanity generally go hand in hand. Whether it's teammates, coaches, or fans, cuss words are always flying in the locker room and in the stands. They're used to motivate, pump up, or celebrate after a big play. It's great for excitement, but they're also used the other way. If coach hates the call, a player messes up, or the team loses the game, those same words could spark a fight in the stands or cause havoc amongst teammates. Coach is chastising players, players are blaming each other, and the fans are pissed at the team on their jerseys. Meanwhile, this person is restraining themselves from saying something unworthy. If the situation is going great, they're just as hyped as the next person. But if things start going sour, they'll maintain a cool head to prevent the situation from worsening. Instead of a player saying F you, they'll say we need to learn from that mistake so we can improve. And instead of saying that teammate is ish, They'll refrain from an insult and try to uplift. If they're trash talking a competitor, they won't cross a line. And if coach is frustrated, they talk about the game within the lines. Because personal insults aren't required, this is just a game. Anything that happens between the whistle isn't worth defaming your name. So the second situation are conflicts. While this person quickly escalates the conversation, this person de-escalates it. We've all been in arguments or negative conversations, but once we start inserting cuss words, the reason we're fighting quickly escalates to new reservations. What started as a bad moment turns into calling somebody out of their name. And if it's a family or friend, you can very easily break a bond that took forever to make. While this person gets very easily carried away by their emotion, this person understands the situation and doesn't let those thoughts go into motion. They refrain from harsh words and stay focused on the issue that took place. Since they're maintaining composure, they're in a better position to de-escalate. If nobody's being called out of their name, the conversation is very unlikely to boil over. And once the conflict concludes, the final result won't be hatred, it'll just be closure. So now that we've tackled the two situations that generate the most spats, in point number 3, we go over the words to use instead to combat. Point number 3, growth. We've identified profanity is just simply not a necessity. So now we're going over a substitute that's best for you and me. This takes effort. Gerald McCoy, a former All-Pro NFL player known for his work ethic and performance, but how he talked about his teammates is what made him important. He says, if you're not speaking life into somebody else or positivity into somebody else, then you probably shouldn't say it. Many of his teammates looked up to him to determine what was wrong and what was right. So he knew for the betterment of himself and his teammates, it was best just to put those words out of mind. So first are regular conversations. This is the easiest to adjust. Since our emotions are steady, we can focus on the words to change when we discuss. The A word is just an alternative to bad, and the S word is just for awful or disbelief. Meanwhile, the F and B word should be the easiest to avoid because this isn't a fight or grief. So next are intense moments where there's an excitement and energy. So hyped about the situation, we go with the first word that pops up in our memory. The A and B word is generally obsolete, while the S word just refers to the subject at hand. However, it's the F word that's most present to hype up the demand. For example, we have, let's effing go, or A, F it up, or they can't F with you. But in each situation, we can easily insert or alter the phrase to get the same effect too. Let's go, baby! Or, whoo, pump it up. Or, they can't mess with you! It's never been about the word, it's been about what you do. So next time you're excited, just focus on the energy created by you. So lastly are conflicts, arguments, or things that get us agitated. All the cuss words mentioned before are usually present and can escalate a situation well past exaggerated. As discussed before, there's always an alternative word, but when we start hurling out insults, our mind shifts to making the other person hurt. This is the exact moment we need restraint, because if we can control what we say, we're maintaining a level of constraint. Without calling someone a B, an A, an F, or an S, we're in a much better position to focus on the issue we're trying to address. After all, the ultimate goal of profanity isn't just to simply omit these words. The ultimate goal is to improve our self-being, our control, and to uplift in any situation that occurs. So in conclusion, is profanity necessary? Not by any means. It's honestly just laziness and the unwillingness to refrain from what seems routine. There are no positives, you don't empower, and no real energy is created. The only thing you're doing is leaving a door open for positivity to become hatred. There's just too many words in a dictionary for us to settle on what hurts. So starting today, we're altering our vocabulary to what our family, friends, and ourselves deserve. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to check out the channel. And subscribe, because there's more in store. From one witness to another, you are special. Hook out.